Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new here, my name is Tim Axelsson. I am currently scaling a B2B SaaS company in the telecom construction industry. And today we are at the hunting grounds. This is where we do majority of all our sales. So we are at a trade show, which for those of you who know is kind of an old school way of doing sales. It's costly, it takes a lot of time, but it works. In our industry, it's a lot about building relationships. The in-person meeting is really important. And for those who don't know what a trade show is, it's essentially an event where all the companies in one industry come together. Suppliers like us, we come here, set up our booths and exhibit our products, whether it's software, technology or material. And all the companies in the industry, in our case, construction companies and service providers, they come here to check out what's new, to network with others and of course have fun.
No, I'm the construction guy.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
here's our booth, and I'll give a little rundown to our booth setup here. So what we do is that we try to have some type of icebreaker. A lot of people just walking by here, so we start with a little quiz here. I have to guess how many Swedish fishes we have in the bowl, which by the way isn't Swedish, which adds to the icebreaker. So once we have gotten some contact, we get them into our booth and we have an activation. We're currently setting it up, but what we do is that we have a grip strength competition. And a lot of guys here is in construction, so of course want to show off how strong they are. And that brings them in here, we start chatting, we sort of break that ice, and once we've done that, then we dive into doing an actual product demo. So a live demo on site, not booking any meetings, we try to get it directly here, not wasting their time. And the thing is, like I said, most of our sales comes from trade shows, but it's not necessarily that we are signing them here directly on the floor. But if we look back on a lot of our leads, we see that the first touch point comes from here. So either that they have seen it here and booked another demo and managed to sign them on, or simply that, they saw us here, they see the value we provide, and then they have referred us to someone else. So this is super important, and like I said, a lot of it is also about building relationships. So we're gonna be here, talk to those people, doing exhibitions, but then at night we're gonna hit town, Broadway, take some customers to dinner, and then we have fun together. And that's how you build. You buy things from people that you know and you like. So that's half of it. Anyway, we're gonna dive into our sales, gonna set this up, and time to sign some customers. Look at this. It's absolutely crazy to see how far we gotten. I mean, it may not look much to you guys, but 2 years ago, I was here at my first Fiber Connect. And it's expensive to be at these places. And all I had was a little crappy roll-up. I stood there like a polo shirt or whatever. I didn't know anyone here. You can maybe pull up a picture from that event. And now, now we know most of the people. We're like the quickest growing tool in the industry. We got a nice barista setup. We got customer success videos going in the background, professionally edited. And yeah, it just makes me very proud. But it's just a start. We got many levels to climb still, but sometimes you gotta step back and yeah, recognize the progress you're making.
What are we doing?
What we're doing, we're gonna get some snacks, some protein bars for our little run club, and then we're gonna head over to the venue and do a little 5K.
Why are we doing a running club?
Well, we want to have, promote the intimate setting where we can connect and, enjoy a sport with like-minded people from the industry. So that's what it's all about, connecting with people, building relationships. And being physically active, right? For the mind, for the body, for the spirit. The philosopher is back, motherfucker.
Chill out.
I had to leave the team behind when they went for a run. Unfortunately, I have an inflamed knee, so I'm going for a little walk instead, which is not ideal when you are 11 weeks out of an half Ironman. But I see this as just another mental challenge to overcome. 90% of getting what you want out of your life is just the ability to control your mind. So instead of looking down at this, I see this as a great challenge to practice that. Definitely feels strange being back in America. I wouldn't say it's made Cape Town anything less special, but it really made me realize how much the surrounding impacts you. The pace here is definitely a lot higher, there's more opportunities, more things going on, and another example why it's so important to be very intentional about where you stay, where you live, and why you do so. Every place has its own thing, and you inevitably become like your surrounding. So if you want a lot of opportunities about the field you need to be in, or you are in, you need to be in the place that has the most opportunities in that field. Anyway, we're at this incredible convention center here in Nashville. The biggest trade show of the year in telecom is going down, called Fiber Connect. We are going big this year, got a good booth, a lot of events going on, and I'll take you through our playbook and how we structure these events and when trade shows could be a go-to-market strategy that you should consider, and what kind of software and what kind of products that is suitable for. Back to trade shows and when it makes sense for you to use trade shows as a sales acquisition channel. It's currently 1 a.m. We've had 2 great days at the trade show. I had to cut the night short because we got a lot of planning to do before tomorrow. We're wrapping up, we're getting into a rental car and driving south towards Austin. We're gonna pass a couple of customers on the way, and there's some logistics I need to figure out before that. And we've had a dinner with one of our bigger customers tonight, and we hit Broadway. And for those of you who's not familiar with Nashville, it's the big party street where there's a lot of honky-tonks, a lot of great live music, especially country, which is a lot of fun. But I've talked about what a trade show is and how they work. Let's dive into when they could make sense for you to use as a go-to-market strategy, because they're not for every business. They are very expensive. They take a lot of time and energy to organize, and there's a lot of logistics that goes into it. We, for example, spent over $25,000 on just this week attending it. You can definitely do it cheaper, but there's also those who are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in a week like this. So I would account for at least $10,000 to do one of these shows properly. So I put together this graphic to illustrate when they could actually make sense. And I think there are 2 things you need to take into account here. One is the account value, and the other one is your market or market size. So in terms of account value, which is average revenue generated from one customer per year. If you're selling something that costs maybe $1,000 or a couple of $1,000s per year, you will need to acquire a lot of customers on a show like this to get your return on your investment. But if you are targeting more of enterprise clients or B2B SaaS like us, where you sell something for tens or maybe even hundreds of thousands per year, you don't need a lot of new deals for the equation to add up. The second thing is market size, and it's not necessarily about how many potential clients you have in the market. It's more about how well defined the industry that you are targeting. If you have a very broad product targeting any type of business, you wouldn't have a very good hit rate going to a show like this. But in our case, where we're building what's called a vertical SaaS, we have a very niched industry. We're only targeting companies building fiber, and these are dedicated fiber trade shows. So almost all the companies there are our ideal customer persona. And we hit this perfect sweet spot. We have over $25,000 per year in account value, and like I said, a very well-defined industry. And with these well-defined industries, they're so small, so they quickly talk to each other, they know each other, so being on these shows gives you a lot of credibility. Other cases where it could be relevant is that if you're building something in the public sector or targeting governments, if you have a very complex product that requires, complex integrations or maybe even hardware tie-ins. It can also be relevant if you're a startup, going to trade shows and you are working in a very credibility-driven market. Showing your face there and building those in-person relationships can be incredibly valuable. Or if you're expanding into a new market, showing that you are now here to start establishing yourself. So that is some of the scenarios where it could make sense for you to look at these trade shows. Now let's look at some of the values of going there. And number one thing is marketing signaling. Showing that you are there shows that you are investing in presence. You want to be a market leader, which just gives off a signal that others can trust in investing in you. And for us, it is especially valuable with that face-to-face connection. People buy things from people that they trust and rely on, especially if you are having a product with a higher ticket or maybe long contract times. That in-person handshake with decision makers can be the make or break thing for you. Also, reaching the right decision makers. Doing that over cold email or LinkedIn can be incredibly hard to get a response. If you need CEOs, CTOs, or CFOs to sign off of your purchase, you can get stuck in a limbo without responses for months. But these are typically the people who is attending these shows, so you can shortcut directly to decision makers without having to go through the entire organization to finally get approval. If you are starting out though, if you are a startup, competitor intelligence, going to these shows simply to see, what your competitors are doing, how they're pricing it, what their wording is, how they're selling it, can give you a lot of valuable insight. You can also use this as a way to hunt for beta customers. Show up in person, find some innovators who is ready to be a part of your pilots and work very tightly with them. It also is a great way to accelerate your feedback loop. I mean, think about it. Having 20 potential customers or your current customers and having those in-person conversations discussing how it is working with your product, what they're lacking in the market is going to give you, 100 times the value than doing 200 LinkedIn posts or setting up forums. But I think the biggest takeaway for me about trade shows and what I've learned over the years that is not necessarily as much about sales or going there and sign deals on the trade show floor. It is more about building relationships and doing customer success. So when we go there, we focus equally as much as meeting up with people we already know in the industry. We are arranging happy hours. Like I said today, we went to a dinner with one of our bigger customers. So we continue deepening our relationships with them, allowing us to understand how our product works and getting to know the people even more in these companies. Because all of this, especially when you work in a very niche market, that allows for word of mouth effect going. Because if you're just relying on like performance ads, Meta or LinkedIn to acquire new customers, your acquisition cost is gonna be linear or increase as the market gets more saturated. But word of mouth can have an opposite effect. The more customers you have and the more friendlies who talk well about you, like you, your product, and your team, that will spread even quicker. So as you're growing, your acquisition cost can actually go down. Cool, so there's some of the many reasons where it could make sense and a little insight in when you should consider it being something for your company to attend. I also want to preference that you don't need to spend the $20,000 to go all in on a trade show with a big booth and your entire team to be there. I would recommend you just buying a ticket for yourself, flying out and walking the floor. Typically, they also have a couple startup tickets. If you email the organizations in advance and ask for a discounted ticket, it's very likely that they will help you out with that. So it's a great way for you to scout out the market, start finding some beta customers and getting into that industry before having to commit with a big ticket.
There he is, finally. What's going on?
We are packing up the car and heading south. We got, is it 10-hour drive down to Austin? Of course, we're making the most out of it. So we're heading down, passing one existing customer and a potential client who actually met on this trade show. I've been talking about them for like a year and a half now, and I'm really tired of going back and forth with them. So it's like, why don't we just get to your office, we'll do an on-site demo, if you like it, we'll get you guys on board right away. And they said yes, so yeah, Tupelo tonight, just slightly north of Alabama, and then we're heading to Little Rock in Arkansas.
You want to put this on to fit in better.
There we go. Matches the car too, right?
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. Me and your daughter got a special thing going on. You say it's puppy love. We say it's full grown. Hope that we feel this way forever. You can plan a pretty picnic.
Josh is supporting out in Arizona. So
Hey there.
Hey.
Hey, Tim.
Nice to meet you.
So you're having about 200 people overseas,
Yeah.
and then you have 75 people here.
Yeah.
So it's like one for every 3 guys.
Well, on our engineering side here,
Yeah.
there's about 50 employees. So
Okay.
we have about a 1-to-3, 1-to-4 ratio,
Yeah.
right? Which is, in my opinion, it's critical.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these companies and customers are competitors are 1-to-10, 1-to-30, 1-to-40.
Yep.
Doesn't provide the adequate, QC customer interface.
Right.
So
So a lot of people try to leverage, overseas, right?
right
It's-
for
it's
cost.
difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you think this is this is how you solve it, having
Absolutely.
that balance. So.
You got to have that balance. You got to have that local
Yeah.
knowledge, experience, and
And how did
expertise.
you figure out the balance? Was it just a trial and error, or?
Yep, trial and error. When you start scaling up one side,
Yeah.
you start to see the quality shake.
Right.
You got to reboot basically. Look at it. So.
And why
1 to
India?
5.
Because
Experience there.
Experience.
That's all.
something that I've been thinking a lot about, resources, like how does your customer react to utilizing that? Do they even know?
No, you don't. We are transparent with them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the goal is that they don't even know that happens.
Okay.
It's completely behind the
So
scenes.
they're aware, but they shouldn't feel it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And you've done all this in just 4 years.
4
You go
years.
from 0 to
Yeah.
close to 300 people. So now.
4.5 years. We're approaching 4.5 years. Yeah.
That's massively impressive. Well done.
Immediately, if we have something that we need or don't need, we can chase that. Or to learn the system was a breeze.
So we're out here in Tupelo, Mississippi, visiting one of our customers. We're here to do a customer success video. We're filming what goes on their day-to-day basis and film how they interact with our software and get some interviews with the guys actually doing the work. But it's not a very important reason why we take our time to go out here. I mean, we're doing customer success management with our client here, making sure we build a relationship with them. But also, I mean, I built this tool because I was doing construction myself in Sweden. So I could really build something that I knew was working for us because it came bottom up, as we call it, built from site based on actual problems we're solving. But it was a few years since I did that myself, and I haven't been doing any construction work in the US. So for me, I tried to get out to sites as often as possible, really try to understand how they interact on the platform, challenges that they're facing every day, because that's how we can continue tweaking the product. When you're building software and SaaS, the product is never done. A, there's always more things to do. B, the market and the surroundings and requirements are always shifting. So you need to have an ear close to the ground, understand what needs to be done, and then implement that. I see far too many software companies who's just sitting at some fancy office and think that they know how reality works. And especially with something that is so, manual labor, you need to be out there to truly understand how your product works. So that's what we're doing.
When you move in right up close to me, that's when I get the shakes all over me.
We just going for a pit stop, and then we got 1.5 hours until Austin. So just refuel and let's get to it.
Halfway to Austin. Gonna be there for 3 weeks, and I got plenty of things to do there. A lot of customers in the neighborhood, and I'm sending off Benjamin and Craig up to Columbia, Missouri for another trade show. They got another trade show booked in 2 weeks from now in Houston. So I mean, this is what it's gonna be now for the coming foreseeable months. Trade show to trade show.
What have you got there?
No, I'm not gonna have it.
Show me.
I had orange juice. I'm gonna go for some coconut water instead.
All this guy does is eat orange juice.
Eat orange
You
juice.
drink
You're
orange
fucking-
juice. I just woke up.
Like instead of coffee, I'm off caffeine. And instead of beer and shit, why not just drink orange juice? Why not? And coconut water. Stay healthy. Represent. Healthy nation. Get the fuck out of here.
Let me guess you're tired of the country boy. Moving up, moving on. You throw a fist soon as he gets
Perfect little working spot. What's nice when you have a really nice accommodation is that you don't want to leave as much, so you can just stay, be locked in, work. Again, it's bro math again. A better house, you get more work done, but there is something in it.
Time for gym?
Lift ATX, one of our favorite gyms. So let's get over there.
We specifically chose this Airbnb to be close to Lift ATX.
Yeah, this is like our 4th time in Austin now, so now we sort of know our favorite spots. So like this triangle right here is like our favorite coffee spots, our favorite gym, close to downtown, nice neighborhood. So yeah, we locked it in now.
Feels good to be here, honestly.
Absolutely love this gym. The raw feeling makes you just want to really push yourself. You're so motivated. But I do gotta admit, it was a lot better here a few months ago. The sun is scorching. And the sun's coming from that fucking life, huh? Sexy as fuck. What a fucking life. That was so motivating.
This is a big fucking. Whoa. 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 Big ass watermelon.
I'm so fucking grateful for having you here. For all the opportunities we have ahead of us.
Yeah.
It's all in our hands.
That's right. Let's go.
Cheers.
Let's go.
It's your turn. Well, we're gonna enjoy some food now. We're here in Austin. We got 3 weeks ahead of us to enjoy the city and also get a lot of work done. Next week I'm gonna take you through some site visits. We are in a super cool period now. We're transitioning for pretty much only addressing small and medium businesses and going for the enterprise, which puts a lot of, I wouldn't say stress on the product, but we definitely need to rethink on how we both do our sales process and also how we set up a roadmap. But now, let's enjoy the moment, let's enjoy the food, and see you guys later.